I'm a born skeptic. So whenever somebody says, oh, X in your home causes cancer or causes whatever, I want to see proof of that. It shouldn't just, I'm not going to stop using X because it feels like it should be right. I've looked into the data because I wrote the book, and I'm actually more and more convinced that agents that we use are contributing to aging. And the reason for that is that we've figured out that what's driving this aging clock, in part, and possibly even in large part, are broken chromosomes. When our DNA is broken, this disrupts the packaging of our DNA. And in the process of trying to put it all back together, the clock advances and cells eventually lose their ability to function. That's what we call aging. So things that break our DNA are really bad for us. So obviously going in the sun is going to lead to some breakages, and we can see wrinkles appear because of that prematurely. But what about other things in our lives? Radon gases breaking DNA, flying in airplanes, PCBs, chemicals from plastics being microwaved. Even X-rays are going to do some damage to your chromosomes. So I try to limit all of those things as best I can until proven otherwise. So yeah, I've definitely gone from, that can't be right to, it's not worth taking the risk.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because I'm the same, but I don't have the scientific background to back up my hunches with rigorous research. But I have to say, I do slightly bristle when, for instance, these X-ray machines, especially in America, that you have when you're about to take a flight, and they want to send you through the machine, and you can ask to be manually searched, and you always get a lecture from one of the security guards saying it's no problem, mate. It's just like switching the TV on. Get in there. I always rather bristle at that, but it feels instinctively right not to subject oneself to extra X-rays if possible.
Well, so X-rays you'll get mostly at the dentist and at the doctor. So those scanners, they're a lot better than they used to be. There were ones that actually did cause issues, but fortunately they've been banned from Europe and then a few years later in the US.
Okay.
Now they use low-intensity millimeter waves, and I've looked into this. I think the chances are much less than they were 5 years ago of causing a lot of DNA breaks. What I'm told by people and what I'm reading is it's similar to the amount of radiation you would get on the actual flight. But considering that I'm flying 1 million miles every few years, why would I want to double that exposure?
Yeah.
It makes no sense if I don't have to. So just in an abundance of caution, I try to take the express lane and avoid those scanners. But the other thing to consider, which does concern me, is so broken chromosomes are just regarded by everybody, with perhaps the exception of me, the only thing they could possibly do to you is to cause cancer. But no one is considering what they could do to your long-term health in terms of aging. The experiments are long. Nobody's ever put a mouse in these scanners or under an X-ray machine for long periods of time. And I think what they'll find is that there's a chance that it would accelerate aging. That's my dream, is to get one of those machines and just keep scanning a mouse and see if it's okay. Because you're not just disrupting your DNA potentially. It's the effects on the epigenome, this clock, which is I think much more fragile than the actual DNA molecule. It's all cumulative, right? You might say, oh, it's fine to go get sunburnt. It's fine to microwave plastics. It's fine to be exposed to chemicals in the garden. But yeah, by the time you reach 60, you're likely to have accumulated aging. Your clock is ticking all the time. And you got to be aware of that. It's going to show up later. And what you do now, if you behave well and live well, is going to reap benefits down the line.